The horses are now nearing the starting gate. And they're off. As the field comes into the stretch.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct. A crisp winter day here in the Big Apple. Temperature is in the mid-30s, supposed to get to about 40. Main track is fast. Empire 6 with a mandatory payout begins in race number 3 on the 8-race card. And here are the changes for today's races. In race 1, the early pick 5 begins in the first. Scratch the number 4, Rocco Strong. Scratch the 4, Rocco Strong. And please note the number 9, Oh, You Didn't Know, is a Ridgeling. 9's a Ridgeling. And scratch the 4, Rocco Strong, in race number 1. Race 2 begins the early pick 4. Scratch the 3, Beaux-Arts. Scratch the 3, Beaux-Arts, in race number 2. Again, mandatory payout each and every racing day in January for the Empire 6. It begins today in race number 3. A scratch out of race 3. Take out the 1A, Chasing Cara. The 1A, Chasing Cara, comes out of race number 3. Late pick 5 starts in race number 4. Scratch the 5, Moonlight Kiss. Take out the 5, Moonlight Kiss, from race number 4. The late pick 4 begins in race 5. These changes: scratch the 6, Mills. Take out the number 6, Mills. A rider change for the 9, Gautier. Make it Benji Hernandez. Benji Hernandez rides the 9. And scratch the 11, High Command. Scratch 6 and 11 from race number 5. A scratch out of race 6. Scratch the 5, All Mo. The 5, All Mo, comes out of race number 6. Race 7, scratch the 4, Posse Tisley. Race 7, scratch the 4, Posse Tisley. And in race number 8, scratch the 11, Time to Testify. Scratch the 11, Time to Testify, from race number 8. Fast main track, mandatory payout each and every day in January for the Empire 6. It begins today in race number 3. Post time for the opener is set for 12:50. Coming up next, it's the fantastic Friday edition of Talking Horses with myself and Andrew J. Serling.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, joining me, Andy Serling. Friday edition, what'd you say, the Fabulous Friday?
Fantastic
Fantastic,
Friday edition,
so we have to be fantastic? Does that put a little pressure on us?
Tomorrow would have to be sensational. Sensational Saturday.
Okay.
You know what's nice about, you know what has me in a really good mood this week?
What?
The weather. It's not bitterly cold, and the sun's out, it warms it up nicely. It's really nice here this week. It's been really nice weather this week. I was able earlier in the week to have a couple of cigars with Phil outside, even though it's a little chilly, but I mean, it's really been nice. The weather's been nice.
You're built for cold weather.
I am built for cold weather. I have a lot of natural insulation.
Yeah, I'm not built for cold. For a guy who grew up upstate New York, I
you
never
really
liked cold weather.
No.
I don't like
Yeah,
the
for
cold.
a Saratoga kid, you're a little, you complain a lot about the cold.
I just hate the cold. I do.
Were you like that your whole life?
I was, but I mean, when you're a kid, it's sort of different. I mean, it's cold up there. I mean, I'm sure a lot of our people watching have been upstate or been in similar places. It's a good 15 degrees colder than it is in New York up there. I mean, there were quite a few mornings when it would be like negative 10 walking the bus, and that was when I had hair. It used to freeze to my head. Now I have to let it grow for about 6 months to have any hair.
One of the callers last night on the call-in show has a program from my favorite horse my dad ever trained was a horse named Please the Palate. And he has a program. Exactly. The joke writes itself. He has a program from the next to last time he won. He's sending it to me, Jim from New Jersey. Thank you, Jim. Nice. So we were reminiscing about the coldest place I've ever been is the backstretch at Parks, because it is just wide open and barren, and it's just when the wind comes through, there's nowhere to hide.
Well, you know what's like that? Keeneland. Okay. If Keeneland is chilly. And the spring meet can be funny because I've spent a lot of time there in the swing meet. It can be gorgeous, and it's a beautiful place. But if it's cold and the wind blows through there, because it's all flat.
Nowhere to hide. It's all flat. That's the same thing with Parks. There's nowhere to hide, and it is the most bitter cold you've ever felt.
Well, this is something that people don't understand. That ridiculous narrative of bring the Breeders' Cup to Saratoga. Obviously, the Breeders' Cup understands that Saratoga, in a beautiful autumn setting, would be as nice a spot as you could imagine. It's not as though we don't know that, but if you realistically look at Saratoga, even with the new place, it's all open except for the H63 Club. It's completely wide open. What they don't realize is, even if you got a warm day, let's say they had it last week in October, and it happened to be a reasonably warm day, by the time you hit around 3 o'clock and the sun's getting ready to set, and it gets a little chilly, it would be so awful there.
Other
you
problem
can't even imagine. It doesn't have any seating.
Is training in the morning, because I want to say it was September 27th that somebody tweeted the track was close to frozen.
Well,
if it's 45 in the afternoon, you're going to wake up with the wind. It's 20 in the morning.
There are days when it's like that in early October, mid-October, and there are days where it's 65, 70 degrees up there. The problem is, as the day progresses, even if you get lucky and you get nice weather, and there's nowhere to hide, even if there were enough seats for people, which there aren't, there's only 5,000 seats, including the boxes in the entire place. Even if there was seating, it's all wide open. People would freeze. They just don't get how cold it is.
You lose all of the area in the park because me and Phil will be the only two people sitting in the park.
You can't sit in the backyard. Right. It's not. Saratoga's a summer place to be. It's the August place to be.
That's it.
I mean, listen, I don't disagree. Saratoga.
We'd be the first two flying up there to go for Saratoga.
It'd be great for me. I got a place to stay, and it's all good. But it wouldn't work. Race number 1.
A Lucy shout out on the Friday.
Head out on to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, sorry, we forgot to sign up, guys. Right? Sorry, Steve. It's on me. Match 200. We will match up the $200 initial deposit. Get involved with Naira Bet. Support racing in New York. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out, there's a great video. Naira tweeted it out.
Sensation. I retweeted it as well.
About racing in New York and the importance of racing in New York, and some nice stuff with some terrific people that work around here, including our man Jonathan downstairs, who closes it out. But really, really excellent job. John Hennigan did that, and great job, and a lot of good people in that. A lot of good stuff. Yep. Check that out. The Naira tweeted out. I quote tweeted it. But check it out. It's around and it's excellent. All right, race number 1. Race number 1 is just a race where there's absolutely no form to go on, and neither one of us could sit here and overly justify any pick we make.
Not at all.
And this is a race where even I couldn't criticize any pick in here because there's just nothing to go on.
I did not change my pick because you picked the horse, but I will show you. Will not translate. I originally wrote 8-2. I switched to 2-8.
You know what I find offensive is that you're using purple pens.
I stole that from you. It's a complete steal. It's a complete steal. It's the greatest. You've shown me a lot of good things. I've learned a lot.
There's nothing better.
There's nothing better than purple pen.
I have more purple pens in my apartment. Yeah,
it's amazing. I have boxes. It's like a.
I'm cornering the market.
It's like an Easter egg hunt around my office and home.
Before your time, when Nelson Bunker Hunt tried to corner the silver market, I'm working on cornering the Uniball.
It's a name we haven't said in a long time. Nelson Bunker Hunt. Wow.
Owned Dahlia.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead on Black Limo.
I mean, what else? They tried the horse once on turf. They ran the horse back in 2 weeks in an off-the-turf race. Now, at Woodbine, the off-the-turf races go to the Tapeta. So they ran the horse on the Tapeta going long. Turf sprint, long on the Tapeta. Horse comes down from Mike Maselli. He's had mixed results with these horses. Horse is going to be a middling price. I didn't have a lot to say about the horses that have already run on the dirt. I'll take a little shot with this horse.
This horse is... I wish this horse had a little bit of dirt pedigree.
There's nothing.
It's really more turfy, and I wish the second family's negative dirt. I wish there was more dirt pedigree. Once again, I wouldn't knock this horse in a million years. Michelle Nevin has 2 in here. I'm not inclined to take horses out of the Charlie 5-0 race, which Romantic Man is coming out of. That's a race where the figure is a little bit suspect high. I went to the drop downs, the 8 and 9. I could use both of them. I didn't really think that the 9. Oh, you didn't know would be much bigger price than lots and lots of chrome.
Lots and lots of chrome.
I could switch it around if the 9's a bigger price. I know the 9 did absolutely no running last time, but does come out of 2 legitimate races and at least was chasing the pace in his last start. That's Oh, you didn't know, and that was a pace that was pretty rapid and came apart in the late stages, and he was wide the whole way. The rail was good. Listen, lots and lots of chrome has been dreadful, no doubt about it. Does have some pedigree. I'm hoping this horse will do a little bit better, but to me, I just wanted to drop.
And the 3 horses we've mentioned, the 2, 8, and 9, they're all significant drops. They're all going from maiden special weight right down to the bottom. So
where they belong based on their races.
Certainly seems that way so far.
It's just, you've got Grape Soda, the first-time star, going a mile for Eric Gio, and the dam was actually very good. That horse went over $500,000, produced some good horses early, not as much recent, but mile first-time starters. But listen, I'm not going to dismiss a firster in this group.
No.
Race number 2 has the look of 2 major players. Near you seem to slightly disagree, but we'll talk about Nasty Affair in a little while. But we'll start with Sweet Me. I went back 4 starts to get her to finish second. I mean, this is when she finished second to Finding Fame. I remember Finding Fame thinking, oh, that was that Shug horse that was dramatically overbet that day at Belmont. Who beat that horse at Belmont when the horse was 9? The horse was like 8-5 or something.
8-5.
That horse who got so good for Charlie Baker. And Saul Kupferberg now.
Oh, Honor Way.
Honor Way.
Yep.
Yeah. Honor Way paid like $13 against Finding Fame. And this horse, this race will probably win. The concern is...
I bet her this day, by the way. It wasn't a brutal beat, but...
No, it was a frustrating beat.
It was a frustrating beat.
And she was a big price. She had no excuse. The problem with her is, and she's the horse to beat in here, every race after that got progressively worse. Now she's out for 6 months, and she's dropping right into a claiming race. I'm not saying she's not the horse to beat, but, man, she's got a little bit of an odor to her, Ant.
I do not disagree with anything you said.
You better not.
The end, exactly. The end of the statement also, with a little bit of the odor. I mean, man, you can kind of say that about all of them. Now, the difference is going to be, obviously, price, and she was once in a place and seemed to be going to a place where she was going to be, she might have been okay. I don't know what happened. She went bad.
Doesn't mean she won't win here.
Doesn't mean she can't beat these horses.
Are you concerned with the 6 Happy Sophia causing her problems early? Because you know one thing, Louis Cardenas is going.
Yeah.
Now maybe she just sets up shop in second, but...
I assumed that Manny was going to play the break, assume that I would leave, if I was riding, which I'm not, shockingly. If I was riding...
Well, if you weren't calling, you might be riding.
If I wasn't calling, I had to turn down 3 mounts today.
Yeah.
I would play the break with the assumption that Happy Sophia is going.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't, I would just go on with it.
Well, I agree. Now, one thing to say about Sweet Me is she did start her career at a $50,000 maiden claiming race. So it's not as though that she's some horse they had great expectations. They paid $25,000 for her.
The only time she was not in for a tag was the race after the Finding Fame race. Every other race, and the second start against the Florida Breds, where it's kind of like free money. The rest of the races, Dave offered her up.
Maybe.
There it
well,
is.
they paid $25,000 for her, so it's all gravy at this point. So it's not. I wouldn't call it the worst drop down you've ever seen. By
She's back where she started her career.
She's kind of back where she was supposed to go after she won her maiden race. You know, she got a 51 buyer that day. She got good. She did fall apart. As far as Elegant Zip, I look at her. I'm not sure she's not kind of close to as good in the dirt, and I was wondering if she kind of improved a little bit. And I just thought she made sense. I've always kind of liked her, and I think her form's a little more reliable than the two. That's it.
She's the coin flip here. Is she just in better form, or was it the turf? My problem is, once she got to the turf, Dave Donk, her trainer, did not bring her back to the dirt until essentially he had to. Obviously, we don't have any more turf racing. So that kind of, I don't know if she went
it's not like she was running that well on the turf. I mean, she was some
not like
big
maybe
prices
she
in
went
those
a little
races.
sour on the dirt. He moved her to the turf, and she kind of blossomed and woke up a little bit. But she's obviously a player.
She's a horse that form could have fallen apart. As you know,
you've never been a nasty affair guy.
No, that's not true. I thought she couldn't lose that day at Saratoga. She won by a nose. And that was the day she had trouble at the start.
Right.
The problem is, she always has trouble at the start.
Always has trouble at the start.
I mean, she's a slow plodding horse that can't get her act together at the beginning of races. And the Noda barn is cold. They're cold. They've had one win in about 40 days now, and they're a barn that wins races in bunches. And she's a horse that you just never want her. I mean, I'm not saying she's not in your pick five, because obviously she can win this race, but she is a horse that's, by the very nature of dirt racing, she's always compromised because she's so slow, and she makes it worse by getting left every time.
Right. She leaves herself susceptible to horses looking for position. Now, that's kind of negated today by the outside draw. She doesn't, at the very least, have to really worry too much about her rivals hurting her chances. It's just, it's on her today. The one thing is,
a nutcase coming out of the
gate.
She
is. Elegant Zip's coming off 2.5 months. Sweet Mia's coming off 5.5 months, almost 6.
Fair.
She has the race under her belt off the 8-month layoff.
I know, I can't.
I know. Listen, I know.
You know, I got to like it. Race number 3. There are 2 major players in here. Race number 3. I'm not a big fan of the number 5, Shane's Pretty Lady. I think Frost Me is okay in here, but like you, I like this horse out first. I know she won the wet last time. David Aragon was right about her last time. He was smart to pick her on top. Obviously, she won 6-1, but not just that. I went back and watched her first race again. She really had legitimate trouble in that race. She ran well on a dry track, too. I think she's pretty good.
She gets wired by 100 to 1 shot first time out in a race where she, like you said, didn't have the cleanest trip. She ran okay, comes back, and second time out, you see the improvement. Now, you can obviously sit there and say, look, if you want, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about the proverbial you, the royal you, man. Say, look, she caught a wet track, she loved it, and she freaked in the slop. Yeah. I don't feel like that was the case. I just feel like she ran better than it looks first time out. She improved second time out. Maybe the wet track helped her a little bit, but even if you want to knock a handful,
I don't either.
Okay. Yeah, she might be okay.
She might be okay.
I felt the same way as you did.
I'm optimistic about her. I always like to see Jimmy Ryerson do well. Obviously, Shane's Prelay is okay, but she was kind of sucking up last time. Frankly, I thought the 4th horse ran better moving early. Frost Me could be okay. She got bet very strongly in her second race, coming back on super short rest. And she actually ran pretty well in the maiden to miss when you consider how strong the pace was.
She did.
And Laubin de Prayer is pretty good. So I know she's run lower figures. I think she may be a horse that's a little better than her figs look.
I think the only problem I had with her was the fact that when she broke her maiden, she beat a horse in Kara's Dreamer who was back in here.
I know. I
took
agree.
her 7 tries, and she walked the dog on the turf to break her maiden.
But
so
she broke her maiden in a mile and 16th first time out.
She did.
So she should,
but it was also an off the turf. You see, I'm a little.
No, I know. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But, she ran well enough in her next race coming back in 12 days to suggest that it wasn't a fluky race because of the
Agreed.
track, so.
Look, the 12 days, late in the 2-year-old year, even though it was late, the 12 days, she ran a big race. So 12 days for a filly that came back. How far did she win the Stallion Series race by? She won
it's
8,
it's
9
in here
lengths?
because the 5 ran against her.
Right.
So you
how
could
far
actually
did she
look
win
right
by?
there. 8.
8 lines. So
the answer is right in front of you.
the answer's blowing in the wind.
It's the best concert maybe I ever saw. The Dylan tribute, about 30 years ago at the Garden.
Wow.
I think 93. Might be George Harrison's last appearance.
I think that's right.
Tremendous seats. Yeah, it was great.
You're an important guy, Andy.
My friend Bruce had good connections. Got to. You know what's amazing? Tickets were $150. Had the best seats. And back then, that was like a fortune.
Forget about it.
Now it's like any concert you go to.
Any concert you go to is $1.25.
No.
Well, we can't go to concerts right now. But.
Anyhow, we'll remember when. Race number 4. Oh, race number 3 kicks off the pick 6, which, as you said.
Empire 6,
what did I say?
You said pick 6.
Well, it is a pick 6. It's called the Empire.
Mandatory payout every race day.
At least through January.
At least through January.
Yeah. Race number 4, so it will always be paid. No carryover. Race number 4. I got to admit, I like you. Oh, wow. Look at this.
That's for this heat. That's impressive.
I thought our Whirlwind Ride, first time out, actually didn't run that badly. It was kind of forced over and stayed out at the start. I didn't pull it up. I probably should have pulled it up. Made a run, had absolutely no finish in the stretch. But I think our Whirlwind Ride, a track that was speed was dominant that day, made a move to contention after the early trouble. And I mean, what are you supposed to do in this race? Guess with the 3 first time out? I don't think the 1 ran terribly, but I mean, our Whirlwind Ride might be okay, and unless a firster can run, and maybe one can.
Here, the thing that carried the day for me, when one Whirlwind Ride ran first time out, the horse that won was a Todd Pletcher horse that got beat on debut.
She's not much for a storm shooter.
He's not much. He's not much. He's in, I believe he's running in the Regal Park on Sunday. But he was like 4 to 5 that day. And this is the only horse that really took any money into him. I thought he ran better than it looks on paper like you did. He gets a fast track. And let's be honest, he's not going to have to be much to beat these horses.
No, in theory. Now, they're first-time starters in here. I mean, I think that Tano's a little dangerous. About 2 to 3 of the foals from this dam were okay. I mean, obviously, Byron has not turned out to be a particularly solid sire, to say the least. But, I mean, I thought that horse could be dangerous for Carlos Martin first time out. And why do you have Prince Orb in here?
I don't like the fact that Tano, all the works are out of the gate. I don't like seeing that. I like to see an occasional gate work. Constant gate drill.
He needs to run about a 47 buyer to win this race.
I got it, but I just, I think I'm not a big fan of that. Prince Orb, I tried him last time when he stretched out. It's been terrible. It's been terrible.
Going a mile, though, getting caught up in the pace, maybe he can get a more comfortable trip.
And you know what, Andy, the way this horse is run, we're going to see this a lot now with the 2s turning 3s. I would not be surprised if he was the type, the way he's running his first 2 starts, where the Lasix is going to help.
Yeah.
I think the Lasix is going to help him. I don't think he's going to be 15 to 1. Unfortunately, this barn takes money.
Well, it depends whether or not firsters get bet. If a firster or 2 are live in here,
maybe
he'll be every bit of 12 to 1. How short can he be, Anthony? He's lost his first 2 starts by over 40 lengths.
No, you're right.
He may stink.
He may stink.
That's
what we kind of said last time when we got 10 to 1 on him, and he stunk again. I think.
That wasn't on his pace last time.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to really muddle through this for a while, but I think he is a horse that's going to benefit from the Lasix.
How do you think you're going to do calling this race?
Well, fine. Get through everybody. Everybody gets 1, and then you focus on that gets you through the first 5/16ths, and then you take them home.
Okay. Speaking of taking us home, we're going to take a break, and then we'll take you home in the late pick 4, which kicks off the race number 5.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Track announcer, Anthony Stabile. Is it kind of a close-up, like really sort of big in the screen?
It's almost, what it looks like right now? It looks like when I'm home watching TV. My stepfather, Pete, likes to zoom everything. So you see a lot of foreheads, you don't see arms, if you're trying to watch a race, you don't get the odds board. That's what it kind of looks like right now, right? I even moved over too, because even though Jose's not here, he's right. I was kind of I was drifting into I was lugging into the rail, so I'm a little, you all right? I'm gonna wake you.
The nice thing for Anthony and I is we're very, very easily amused, both of us. It's probably one of the reasons we get along as well as we do.
We're like 12-year-olds.
Hey, really great news for you in race number 5.
Oh, here we go.
You get to bet
Don't talk
hardcore
about my boy
folklore back.
Mills, man.
I'll take a look.
Oh.
I actually put his race up from 3 back because Mills was still in the race. And Anthony doesn't pick hardcore folklore on top today, but he picked him last time, and I abused him, and he deserved the abuse. This is actually 3 races back, once again, because this is when Mills finished second, and we thought your friend Mills was going to run today. He did not. I actually thought he ran great 3 back. I thought he ran sort of mediocrely, even though he won 2 back. He had no chance last time. It's not because of the mud. He just had no chance in that race. He's running in the race he belongs in. He's also coming back in 6 days.
Very quick. Very quick. Yes.
I didn't love
that. I didn't love that. I love that, though. He went from October 30th to November 8th, and he won the race that race we just saw.
Yep. No, I
he's
agree.
a player. I put him second. I think he can.
You like Otto Strad?
I do.
Okay.
Thought Otto Strad ran well last time. I think Otto Strad, it's the same.
Why did he run well?
It's the same. Why did he run well?
This is a show about why.
Well, I would just like to address what I wanted to say.
I'm sorry. Please be my guest.
I do believe, despite the fact that was an $8,000 claimer, I think that race was tougher than this race.
It's certainly it's no easier. I would agree with that.
He came off a race in which he did not have, he was eased essentially, and then he came back, and it just didn't look like. I don't know what happened to back, but I thought he ran well last time. Passed horses last time. He was wide last time. Give him another chance in here. I think it'll be a square price.
You know what worries me about him? And he can win. I'm not saying he can't. I think a lot of horses can win here.
So do I.
I don't think he finishes. I almost wonder if he'd be better going shorter at this point in his career.
Might be right.
I just think he has I
wonder if that's why Rudy sent him the 8 to 9 furlongs, as if to say, well, maybe he can just grind him down. That's a good point.
I wonder if he'd be better going a little bit shorter.
Maybe.
I just feel like he sort of gets there and just sort of stays with the group.
That's what the comment was last time. Stayed. That's all he kind of really did. He didn't
I think other things equal can win coming out of that race. He did have a bit of a stumble. I thought it was pretty minor. He was also kind of had an easy walk down the lane, this horse. I think he's going to run a little bit better today. Once again, I'm not sure about the Noda horses. I like Beach Access. I'm going to bet Beach Access in here. He's dropping significantly. I know, listen, he did not run well last time. But
I liked him a little last time. He didn't do much running.
He didn't, but I'm going to say something. I'm not, as you know, I very rarely get involved in the kickback discussion.
Mm-hmm.
This horse was just caked with dirt, totally covered with dirt. So I wonder if he's a horse that may have had a kickback issue. Watch that race, and this horse is just covered. So I'm kind of wondering if he didn't like being behind horses and getting that dirt kicked in his face. And I'm hoping dropping back down to a more reasonable level. I want to give him one more shot for your man, Horatio de Paz.
You bring this up, and I'm going to tell you what. I was kicking myself. The maiden race going the 9 furlongs over the weekend. I picked Aunt Cat, the other filly, Halo City won. Halo City was covered. She was so covered in dirt in her prior start from the kickback. I was calling that day. I almost missed her.
So this is why Anthony almost missed her. It was the kickback. So don't.
She couldn't see her. She was covered. Silks were covered. She was covered. And I remember saying to myself, I think I want to bet her back off that race, and then they ran her in the 9 furlongs.
Did you really think she wanted 9 furlongs?
No, I'm just saying she got the job
I've been wrong about her whole
done.
career. I bet her when she loses, and I hated her when she won.
How many tickets have we cashed on horses that we didn't bet the right horse or the best horse?
I'm going to give you another horse in this race that's going to be way too big a price because the trainer obviously doesn't really win, and I'm not trying to be hard on him. Hero's Hope actually ran pretty well last time out. Gets, I think, a reasonable rider change. I think Hero's Hope is going to outrun his odds in here. Let me put it this way. If it wasn't Louis Miranda, you're going to tell me this horse would be 12 to 1 in here?
No, absolutely not.
And
it's hard to overlook 0 for 60s,
I
you know?
understand, but it's one thing
No
when
offense to him.
they're no, I know, and I'm not. It is what it is, but. This is a horse whose price I think is going to be too high. That's not the only race he has recently that's pretty good. I thought his race 2 back was okay. I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a real shot in this race.
The price I wanted to mess with in here was the 3. This Cat Can Fly.
Yeah.
Since the layout, they shipped. How about this one? Shipped this horse to Turf Paradise after the 19 Finger Lake season. Ran 1 to Turf Paradise and then shipped back. That's wild. When this horse came back,
to be fair. He was 49 to 1, so it was a good spot. What was that about?
I have no clue. I have no.
Well, something must have happened where this horse was sold, or I mean, who owned it?
Perhaps.
It's because it's a different train. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like obviously the same trainer. Finger Lakes probably can go to Turf Paradise, but
So he comes back.
that is bizarre. That almost looks like it's a mistake.
Right. He comes back March to August. I'll give him the first race. He runs an 80 by a speed figure. Catches a wet track.
And
Let's
that
forget
figure's
about
legit
that.
because Nick Tamro makes it, and if I make fun of one of Nick's figures on TV, he's gonna. I think he might cry.
Catches a wet track. Doesn't really like wet tracks. Comes back and runs a 75 on a fast track.
Yep.
Comes back on a wet track. Doesn't really
And then
like
caught that
wet tracks.
preposterous slow pace last time.
Right.
Yeah.
Why can't this horse
And
get a
he
piece
drops.
today?
No, that's
it's
fair.
15 to 1. I should have put this horse higher.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to say it's a great point, but it was a good point.
How's this horse going to be 15 to 1? I'm going to
Well,
let this
the
horse
other
beat me
thing
at 15
is,
to 1? No shot.
Who do you really like at
That's
this
what,
race?
that's what I mean. I should have put this horse on top. I'm an idiot.
Well, okay, we know you're an idiot. These are 2 very separate conversations, but I'm glad you brought it up, and I appreciate you being the one to say it instead of me today.
I am an idiot.
See, I was trying to be nice.
I should have
and
picked this
there
horse
you
at
are,
15 to 1.
Race number 6. You know, let me ask you a question about race number 6. Well, you obviously have answered it. We'll look at the Reds' last race. Yes, I needed the Reds for second. I'm very bitter about it. I guess a mile's better than a mile and an eighth. He didn't finish in here. That bothers me.
I think it was the 9 furlongs. That's what I honestly think.
I know, but it's like...
Right here, it looks like he's going to win.
No, I just wanted him to be second.
And now risk taking's going
The win would have been nice.
to get
for
going.
second.
And right here, he just looks like, right outside the 16th pole. He doesn't want anything to do with this anymore. I'm hoping the cut back to the mile is going to help him a lot today.
I have no argument. He's the horse to beat in this race. I don't love officiating. Where's his fast race?
This is the horse they got into all this was the big gallop out horse from Saratoga from the first race.
Okay.
And then
Regardless,
he
he's
didn't
now run plenty of races,
Yeah.
and that's right. That's right. A lot
His
of
blinkers,
I
listen,
used him in a second
he's
start.
getting the
you're right.
blinkers now on a fast track for the first time. The first 2 times were in the slop. Who knows if it helps him.
Maybe he liked the slop.
Maybe you like the slop. The problem with him is he's going to be 5 to 2, and he's getting back to a fast track with 2 faster figures on sloppy tracks.
He's a half to that good horse of John Terranova's that won the Breeders' Cup, right?
John Terranova that won the Breeders' Cup.
The filly, Caledonia Road. Isn't this horse a half to Caledonia Road?
Yeah, this is day after Caledonia Road. That wasn't Terranova. That was Ralph Nix.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, Ralph.
It was Ralph Nix. Me too.
Yeah. What about Inspiration Point? Didn't you hear he was the fastest horse of all time?
I did.
In his debut?
I did. He did not live up to that expectation.
Atrocious in that race. I mean, he was just... Now, to be fair, he was 2-3 wide. The rail was good that day. What's funny about watching his race over again, and I don't know if other people watching had the similar opinion, he looked like he wasn't ready for that race at all, and that's just... honestly, it's almost impossible from Todd Pletcher's barn. His horses might stink and not run, but they're almost universally ready to go first time out. And I don't think that's really changed. I know he's not winning as high a percentage with first as he used to, but I don't think it's because he doesn't have them ready to go first time out.
I was confused.
But you think I'm wrong? He
No,
just
I
looked like a
don't.
horse that had no idea what he was doing out there.
He looked unprepared. I don't disagree with that. And that's part of the reason I didn't put him higher today. First off, this horse is coming back, especially for that barn, pretty quick. This is less than 3 weeks. That's a quick turnaround.
Is that frustration?
Right. Is
more
what
distance going to be
is that
better
what
for
we're
him?
saying here? Is that, listen, this horse trained like a gorilla. He obviously didn't learn anything from his training. Let's just get him race ready by racing him. Maybe it is. I think he's got
But they
one.
loved him that day. You told me they loved him.
He's got one easy
even
half.
money.
He's got one easy, for a horse that was working fast, he's got one easy half mile in between. I know it's only 19 days, but
He was.
you know, I love betting the tips back too. This
I'm
is
not
just,
gonna be
this is just a little too. I would use
It's
him in
hard
pick
to
fours
believe
and
he's
pick
going to run
fives.
that badly. I have the 1A Carollo in there. You know, he's the Paul Pompa horse, his firster for Chad Brown. Once again, we talked about that with Paul's horse the other day. I think the dispersal's next week, right?
I believe so.
I know Chad has another first time for him tomorrow at Gulfstream.
In Florida, yeah.
This one's a homebred. That was an expensive purchase. Once again, are they really going to run him if they can't run at all before the dispersal? So maybe he can run a little. However, I like this horse, Al's Prince, and I want to show the start of Al's Prince race, the last quarter. Speaking of horses that didn't know what they were doing, this guy was green as well. And the other thing is to remember with Al's Prince, he ducks into the rail in the stretch, and the rail was not the place to be this day. He just doesn't get out of the gate. He doesn't know what he's doing. I think this horse actually ran okay.
Yeah. He's one where, too, as soon as he didn't really get out of the gate well, and then officiating kind of gave him a couple of good bits of slop in his face. Yeah, he's ducking inside. He's a little green.
He runs okay, this horse.
Does.
You know,
Could he overcome the greenness now?
Everybody, you know, people are going to look at officiating out of that race. Why would you necessarily want officiating? I know he beat him by 4.5 lengths. First of all, you know, officiating is towards the inside. He's not right in the rail like this horse is. But Al's Prince feels like if one horse is going to improve more out of a first start, I just think Al's Prince is likely to. Now he's got to improve. He's got to pick up 4 lengths on him. Right. I'm going to take my chances with him.
He'll be twice the price. He'll be twice the price.
Yeah, this is an interesting race.
This is an interesting race because cost average.
He's just average.
Yeah, but you know what? He ran behind Highly Motivated. He got beat by Wayburn off the 10 weeks.
Yeah, but he was just ahead of Al's Prince.
Just ahead of Al's Prince. I don't know. I thought maybe
if somebody out of that entry wins this race, it's going to be the 1A, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's what I think.
All right.
But I could be wrong. I often do. Race number.
They knew Subsidized was going to run good yesterday.
Well,
they knew that.
Yes,
he took all the early money. He was close
except
to cashing
the
the double.
Ruiz horse went off even money. How bad was Ruiz horse?
Awful.
Wow.
Awful. And Kendrick got him off the red.
He didn't break. When he didn't break, you knew he wasn't running. Race number 7. A heavy favorite, and what do you think now? We'll show his last race. Listen, if you want to just go by the theory that you know who he ran against, Jerry the Nipper ran a huge race the other day. I thought he was ridiculously overbet at even money. I still maintain he was, but not the way he ran. He ran like even money was a gift.
Yeah.
And this horse ran well last time. I think the rail was fine, but I thought he ran well in there. He's proved with every start. But, you know, he did finish behind Raven Rocks, and I like the rider change on Raven Rocks. I don't want to beat up on Eric Cancel, but how is this horse as far back last time as he was? I mean, you got to be in the race, and I'm not ready to give up on Raven Rocks yet, so I'm going to give him one more chance to beat what do you think, who's going to be a very short price in here, and I think he's going to be much closer today in the early stages.
You and I talked after the Jerry the Nipper, what do you think now race, and I told I like both of these horses. I think both of these horses have futures. Jerry the Nipper ran well the other day. I think, like you,
The 5 is way the worst to beat. Yeah. I think he could be lower.
I think if anybody beats him, it'll be Raven Rocks. Raven Rocks ran well to beat him 2 starts back, and then, yeah, he just, no real reason either that you can see for this horse to have lost. I mean, he kind of lost touch early on last time.
He absolutely lost touch. He was down on the inside.
It was kind of different from the first start, too.
He ran into traffic late in the race as well when he was trying to rally, and I just don't understand. I mean, how he was as far back as he was.
First start, he had all the trouble, and it kind of wasn't his fault.
And it was also a very fast pace.
Yes, but last time it was just like, and then you kind of feel like I remember watching the race last time and saying to myself, all right, this horse he's not much, and then he just starts.
Isn't putting Kendrick on the horse also a clue that Jeremiah wants a rider who can be more aggressive? I'm not saying he's going to be in front necessarily, but he's supposed to be a little more in the game.
Well, listen, in the only race where he was really given a chance from the get-go, he was he was on a 46 half mile, right on top of it. So if not on the lead, so yeah,
he was right there with. What do you think?
Yeah. You'd have to imagine that this horse is going to be aggressively ridden today.
That was a funny race because I really liked Raven Rocks, and you told me at a tip on what do you think. You said in the show. Yeah. And so I used him the exact. I used not Fair now, who ran second, for more. But I'm like, whew, thank God not for a second. And I looked and I went, oh, I used that third horse. That was Anthony's horse. He's 20-1. It was annoying. What about Prince of Pharos? We'll show his last race. I know Linda has been going great, though. She, Silly Key ran well yesterday. I know this horse is a little slow on figs, but this was a sloppy track race. And Category 1 came back and ran a big race next time out. I know he didn't run well the Jerry the Nipper race, but what was he going to do with Jerry the Nipper in there? And, just sort of broke his heart. I think this race might be a little better than it looks, considering how well Category 1 ran in his next start.
Now,
I'm not going to discount this horse.
Well, here's the one thing I do not like about this horse. I liked this horse last time. This horse ran well last time off the break. Here's my problem.
You should like this horse.
We haven't seen him in almost 2 months.
I barely slept last night.
Yeah?
6 o'clock.
I slept like a champ. I went to sleep at 8:45 last night. I was out cold.
I like to stay up for Seth Meyers. That's a bad habit I'm developing. He's funny.
So he's in the old Letterman spot at 12:30, right?
I usually make it to about 1.
Okay.
If I'm up.
So my problem with Prince of Pharos is he was gone from March to November, and he missed the race at the mile, which is what he ran in first off the layoff. He missed the Jerry the Nipper, what do you think now race. So for a horse that missed a lot of time, skipped the last race at this condition, which was a full month after his return, I'm a little, to steal one of your words, I'm a little dubious. I'm a little dubious of that. Miss all that time, have an opportunity to run the same condition.
That's a fair point, but let me ask you a question. This is something sort of, have you ever checked out over time if that holds up? You're right, he missed the race, because you look at the workouts, he missed the race.
No, because I think I don't know if I want that general stat.
Should we text Linda and ask if she just didn't want to run against Jerry the Nipper?
Well, the other problem is she's now running him 7, and she also skipped the 6 furlong race. So there's a 6 furlong race and a mile race at this horse.
Well, she probably doesn't want to run him 6.
I agree. And you got to run at the 7 because the mile race is not going to go against the 7.
Jerry Nipper was logical to show up in that race last time out. You knew he was going to show up in there because he'd run the 6 furlong race or 6.5 and run so well.
And maybe you didn't want to run against Jerry Nipper. That's fine too. But in lieu of waiting another month.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You make a fair point.
Thanks.
Race number 8, big scratch in race number 8 of Time to Testify. Have at it with Allied Invasion. I don't know.
Bruce Brown doesn't claim a lot of horses, and he doesn't win a lot off the claim, but he does a good job overall. And he's taking this horse.
He's got a horse that was in Clement's barn, then Maker's barn, Clement's barn, and Cantor Bossi's barn.
I don't
like Bruce too, but those guys win a lot of races.
They win a lot of races. But I feel like this horse did some running 2 starts back in his first start on the dirt, on the fast track. Not so sure he loved the slop last time out. I know he's taking, it was
a better field last time.
Yeah, it was a better field. And again, same condition, but a better field. He's going to be a decent price in here. I think there's some speed in here for him to kind of sit a similar trip to 2 back.
He's not going to be 10-1. That's a bad line, I think. But also,
well, he won't be 10-1 now with the scratch, yeah.
I don't disagree. I like the fact that when he was on a faster track and in his dirt races, he's gotten himself much more in the game than he has in the turf. He's a terrible turf horse. And I do think he's a better horse in the dirt. I just hate that economic policy race he comes out of. That's my problem.
And I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I have him 4th. I scratched into him 4th, the 11 coming out. I hear you. I don't know what to do with Pure 40. There's no way I'm picking him on top.
Right, me either.
Dust Devil seems like the logical horse to be getting back to the dirt. He's just run figures. I know they were out of town, but he's running figures that are fast enough to win. I think he's logical. I like Wild Banker in here. And the thing about Wild Banker is I believe he ran a much better race than Pure 40 last time. That was in the fog, so I didn't bring it up. But you can watch it because you can actually make it out because the incredible video work the guys in the TV crew did that day. He had legitimate trouble at 2 different points, and he got completely shuffled out of that race and was much farther back than he needed to be that day. I think that he absolutely was second best and would have been very close to the winner if he didn't have a bad trip. I like his chances today. I think he's a player in this race.
He makes some sense. I'm going to give you the horse that, at a price, I would certainly want to use in here. The 7 Amistad missed
like the movie?
A big chunk. Never seen it.
No?
No. Big chunk of time.
John Adams?
Missed 16 months. When he came back, he caught a sloppy track. He ran behind Tenderfoot, who's gone on to win 2 subsequent starts. Broke his maiden on the turf. Then he came back last time, going 6.5 furlongs, And he made up some ground late.
Yeah, because it was a wicked fast pace that was completely falling apart, so it's a bit of an illusion.
But I'm not saying that he had a little trouble at the start. At the very least,
But you didn't say it did.
Between the turf start and the fact that he did pass some horses last time, at least he's woken up a little bit. He's stretching to a one-turn mile, and he's going to be.
What about it makes you think he wants more distance?
It's going to be 15 to 1. Well,
No, it's not impossible, but I think his last race is an illusion.
Okay, and listen, you could be 1,000% right. But
no, I can't be any more than 100% right.
So it's going to be 15.
No, 100 is my limit. I'm not like an athlete who gives 110%.
This horse is
the athletes give 110%. Does that mean if they gave 100, they didn't give all?
Correct. That's right. This was going to be 15 to 1 in a race where I don't think you really want anyone. You want this horse.
I don't know if he's going to be 15 to 1. I hear you. I'm not going to make a big argument against a big long shot.
Gets a rider switch to Cancel. Rider upgrade to Eric Cancel. I think this horse makes some sense at a big price. Okay. I left him off the board, but I'm
making a big case for a horse he didn't have one to do.
I'm using 4, 5, 7, 8, 13 to close things out.
Okay.
That was all I really wanted in the finale. 4, 5, 7, 8, 13. 7's the fuzzy.
You ready for today?
Yeah.
You're ready?
Ready for every day, man.
All set. No concerns. Slept like a baby last night.
Slept good last night. Thursdays have been the big sleep day. Thursday nights have been big, and one of the Hallmark channels actually shows a Christmas movie from 8 to 10. I fell asleep on a Candace Cameron Bure movie. I'm very upset about that. She's my favorite Hallmark Christmas movie actress. So I conked out on it last night.
This is a low point for talking horses right now.
Absolutely not, man. Hallmark Christmas movies, they run them every year, every week, Thursday and Friday during the off season. And then during Saratoga, Christmas in July.
Nothing I love more than a Christmas movie.
Christmas in July.
12 months a year. I can't get
You're
enough.
a walking Christmas movie.
I can't get enough of those Christmas movies. You need to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets,
Lordy.
become a member of Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit bonus. Support racing. Keep the money in the game. Support racing in New York. And once again, go over to the Naira Twitter account, find that video, or I retweeted it, but I think they pinned it on top about how much racing means to New York State. It's a great video, great stuff. A lot of good people in that. Nice quotes, good stuff. All right, we're done.
Finito.
This guy to my left, the big A, Anthony Stabile, is
That's
up
me.
next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Aqueduct. Sunny skies, temperature in the upper 30s. Main track is fast for today's 8-race card. Empire 6. There's a mandatory payout each and every racing day through at least the end of January in that Empire 6. It begins today in race number 3 on the 8-race card. And here are the Friday changes. Early pick 5 begins in race number 1. Scratch the 4, Rocco Strong. Take out the 4, Rocco Strong, and please note the number 9, Oh You Didn't Know, is originally. Early pick 4 begins in race number 2. You can scratch the number 3, Beaux Arts. Race 2, scratch the 3, Beaux Arts. Race number 3, that Empire 6 begins with the mandatory payout. Scratch the 1A, Chasing Cara. The 1A, Chasing Cara, comes out of race number 3. A scratch from race 4, where the late pick 5 begins. You can scratch the 5, Moonlight Kiss. Race 4, scratch the 5, Moonlight Kiss. The late pick 4 begins in race 5. Scratch the 6, Mills. A rider change for the 9, Gautier, to Benji Hernandez. And scratch the 11, High Command. Again, in race number 5, scratch the 6 and 11, and a rider change for the 9 to Benji Hernandez. A scratch from race 6, take out the number 5, All Mo. Race 6, scratch the 5, All Mo. A scratch from race 7, scratch the number 4, Posse Tisley. Race 7, scratch the 4, Posse Tisley. And in race number 8, you can scratch the 11, Time to Testify. Race 8, take out the 11, Time to Testify. 100% payout each and every day through at least the end of January racing here at the Big A in the Empire 6. Kicks off today in race number 3. Again, the main track is fast. First post is in 27 minutes at 12:50. Enjoy your day here at the Big A.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com. Need help in finalizing your picks for the next race? Check out the Track Master selections provided by Equibase on every U.S. thoroughbred and harness track on Naira Bets. Use these selections to get quick expert advice from professionals in the business. Check out the thumbs up graphic next to the pick in the wager pad and scroll down for more details on the horse. Track Master selections available on Naira Bets and the Naira Bets app.